Whoever thought I'd be living somewhere and walking to the gym in the snow? Me walking in the snow. Do y'all see this? Craziness. Craziness. It's like a little winter wonderland. I think we're supposed to get like 6 feet, 8 feet of snow. It started this morning. Hopefully y'all can hear me. It started this morning at like 8 in the morning, a little bit before 8, and it's been snowing ever since. Literally so cute, little flurries. But because of the weather last week, I did not go to the gym at all. The weather wasn't even that bad. It just threw off my schedule. So I was like, I'm going to the gym today. I don't care. I'm going tomorrow too. But oh my gosh, whoever thought the gal from Texas walking to the gym in the snow. Anyway, see you guys later. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is a little different. We're actually taking you along to our visit to the Biltmore Estate in Asheville, North Carolina. Now, as you can probably tell, the weather did not cooperate. It was cold, rainy, and honestly kind of miserable outside. But somehow we still had an amazing time. And honestly, the fog and the rain gave everything this moody, almost cinematic vibe that made the estate feel even more magical. So today I'm going to take you along with us, vlog style of course, but also sprinkle in some really cool history and facts about this incredible place that we are about to explore. So first things first, the Biltmore Estate is huge, and I mean massive. The entire property sits on about 8,000 acres today, but originally it was around 125,000 acres when George Vanderbilt first built it. George Vanderbilt was a part of the famous Vanderbilt family, one of the wealthiest families in American history, thanks to the railroad and shipping industries. But unlike some of his relatives, George was more into like art, books, and architecture than business. Even though it was rainy and cold the entire time, I feel like it added something special to the experience. The fog and the quiet sounds of the rain just made it feel even more immersive. We're at the Biltmore Estates. Woo! And here it is, the Biltmore House. This is the largest privately owned home in the United States. It has about 250 rooms, including 35 bedrooms, 43 bathrooms, and 65 fireplaces. This is the grand hall, and honestly, it feels like stepping into a castle. The ceilings are about 70 feet high, and the whole space is filled with tapestries, artwork, and massive fireplaces. George Vanderbilt used this home as a home to really host guests, especially during like the holiday season. It was more of a retreat than a permanent residence at first. Even in the rain, the grounds are just stunning. You can tell how much thought went into every detail, from the gardens to the rolling hills. Fun fact, the estate was actually one of the first homes in the U.S. to have electricity, along with modern plumbing and even an early refrigeration system. This is the dining room, and it is huge. It could seat dozens of guests at once, and the meals here were mostly formal and elaborate. Vanderbilts had full staff to run the house, including chefs, butlers, maids, and more. At its peak, there were dozens of servants working behind the scenes to keep everything running pretty smoothly. Now this is one of my favorite rooms, the library. George Vanderbilt was a huge book collector, and this room holds about 10,000 books. Imagine just sitting here on a rainy day like today. Honestly, feels kind of perfect. Construction originally started in 1889 and was completed in 1895. It took about 6 years to build and required thousands of workers, architects, artisans, and laborers from all over. The architect was actually Richard Morris Hunt, and the landscape was designed by Frederick Law Olmsted. You know, that's the guy who designed Central Park in New York City. Down here is where a lot of the staff worked, including the kitchens, storage rooms, and prep areas. It's really interesting because while the upstairs is all luxury and elegance, the downstairs shows the amount of work it took to maintain the lifestyle. So today, the Biltmore Estate is still owned by the Biltmore family. It's no longer a private home in the traditional sense, but it has been used to preserve the historic site, and it's a tourist destination now. I would like to also add that I believe on the land there are 30 homes where the descendants actually can live free of charge, and currently all of them are occupied by the family, grandkids, great-grandkids, great-great-grandkids of George Vanderbilt. Now we're heading to one of my favorite parts of the estate, the greenhouse, also known as the Conservatory. I love their orchids. So healthy. I can never keep them alive. I've now had 4 and they all die. Or the flowers fall off. Well, these are really big ones. That's why they're in a big pot, but I don't know. Can't figure out how to water them. Look at how beautiful. Look at this. What in the... And honestly, walking in here after being out in the cold feels like stepping into another world. As soon as you walk in, it's warm and humid and full of life. There are tropical plants everywhere, palms, orchids, ferns, and all kinds of exotic species. This conservatory was completed in 1895, the same year as the house, and was designed to grow plants year-round, even in the winter. You'll see everything from delicate flowers to towering greenery, and colors just pop out everywhere, especially on a gray and rainy day like today. There are little pathways like winding throughout the plants, even small waterfall features that make the whole space feel almost like a hidden little jungle. It's not just for looks either. The greenhouse was actually used to supply fresh flowers and plants for the house itself. So imagine, even in the middle of winter, the Vanderbilt's home was filled with fresh blooms grown right here. Now we're heading over to the winery. The Biltmore Winery was actually one of the most visited wineries in the country. It was established in 1985 by George Vanderbilt's grandson as a way to keep the estate financially sustained. Inside, you can do tastings and learn about the wine and how it's made. They produce a wide variations of wines from reds, whites to sparkling. Even if you're not a big wine person, it's still really a fun experience, and the wine tastings are free. And they actually let you sit down at the counter, go through a whole menu, and try 3 or 4 different wines while they explain the flavors and how the wines came to be. I would also like to add that we actually left with some wines, and they are delicious. for watching my little mini vlog, and I'll see you in the next